Hey guys, Midget here, bringing you another episode of my Derby career mode. Here we get straight into the game at Arsenal, so we go into the Emirates Stadium. I was feeling quite confident, and the commentators were saying that they expect Derby to draw to Arsenal. I was like, that's a huge improvement since we came up from the Championship not long ago, and now they're saying we can draw to a team of Arsenal's calibre, so I was kind of proud how I took the team from, being, a terrible team to an absolute amazing team. But in the 15th minute, Barkley, and, I think that was Klein headed it out, but Ramsey had his shot and it got saved easily by Hart. And in the 33rd minute, this is when I switched formation. Martin made an absolute amazing pass into Russell. Russell just took it a long way and just passed it, I guess, past Chesney. But what a pass that was from Martin. I'm going to show you the sliders just because, how Russell outpaced everyone there. I'm going to show you the sliders now, just to say I wasn't, using sliders, but I mean, I was so gobsmacked by that, that run from, not that run, sorry, that pass from Martin. That was absolutely inch perfect pass, but, a couple of minutes later, Eric Dier couldn't clear his lines. It falls to Ozil, and he crosses it into Higuain, who heads it home. However, he gets injured in the process, and obviously goes down and doesn't come back up. That means he has to go off the pitch. But he scored his first goal for Arsenal. But in the 45th minute, Brady hit the keeper, and it went out for a corner, and Martin heads it back, but it goes out for another corner, and Rio heads it in for Eric Dier, who manages to head it home again and put us back on winning ways. So this game is looking pretty easy. I had no trouble. Arsenal didn't make really any chances apart from that chance there. You can see by the shots that I was pretty much dominating the game except from possession, but there wasn't actually that much shots in it. This was the only actual Arsenal chance that I could show. Podolski from like 35 yards, he was a bit greedy and decided to go for, the power shot, which didn't even trouble Hart. But in the 70th minute, Martin passed it through to Junior Malandi, crossed it in for Robbie Brady. He volleyed it pretty much, and it just got saved. No biggie. Chesney didn't really want to bother, but here comes Barkley's shot from around 25 yards. It hits the crossbar, and Arsenal managed to clear it. I was like, oh my days, for the Barkley shot. But in the 75th minute, Martin goes and passes it through to Eric Dier, who manages to curl it home for a second at the game. Our young captain, showing how it's done. I kind of love this goal, so I put on 2 replays because I loved how he curled it first time and it curled into the back of the net. I just loved it. I loved how there was so much people in the penalty area, and he just managed to curl it around everybody and put it into the back of the net. So we're 3-1 up against Arsenal, and Arsenal's next chance was stupid because I brung Hart out here, but I told him to go back. Instead, he carried on going, but Giroud, being himself, manages to sky it for an open net. And I was like, thanks for being Giroud. If you know what I mean. He's crap and all. But Eric Dier passed it through to Junior Malandi. We have a nice pass and play through all of Derby. Managed to go one-on-one with Chris Martin, but the first touch spoiled it, and Chesney did manage to eventually, scrape it away. So we sort of pulled the possession back, and we also owned Arsenal in that, that whole, game. But we get a performance review and get to decide, we'll renew our contract with Poland, which I do obviously, because, I just like being Poland manager. They have a nice couple of talent. But we go into the first Champions League game in this whole series against FC Basel, or Basel, I don't know how you pronounce it. So we travelled to Switzerland, and I saw, that wasn't greeted very well. There you see our table and, our group. It's pretty easy. I guess we should be finishing, in the top 2. And here we check, the Basel team out. They have a nice couple of players. Obviously, they don't have Fabian Schär anymore, but they still do have Valentin Stocker, sorry, but we have players, of much higher class, and the team has pretty much changed since, the last game. But Butland's in there because Hart picked up a red card in the Super Cup. But this is, a very bad choice because already in the 7th minute, Diaz managed to head it past terrible reaction Butland and put us 1-0 down against the Swiss champions, So I was finding this game very tough. It was harder than the Arsenal game for some reason. I wouldn't know why. It's just, I guess it's, you take terrible teams, oh yeah, this is going to be an easy game, and then they play up, when you put all your might into playing the good, teams. So I wasn't really expecting that. But in the 23rd minute, that was basically our best chance until the 27th minute, where Russell heads it, but Salvi managed to, save it. The 59 rate keeper. I know, because I've got him on the ultimate team as a, sub. I just bought him so I could, do that sub bench glitch thingy. But in the 45th minute, Bolly managed to run down, sweat it over to Russell, and he managed to just finish his lines and put us on level terms with the Swiss champions, like I already said. And I find it funny how I scored on 44 seconds past the 44th minute. I just like to point that out. But that's how the first half ended. I was again getting dominated in possession, because 4-1-2-1-2 isn't good for possession in my opinion. It's just good for counter-attacking football, and that's what we are. But in the 67th minute, we get a taste of our own medicine when Diaz sweats it over to Philip Fry, and he managed to slot it back into the end of the net and put us 2-1 down again. So I was getting pretty angry at this point, because I think I didn't deserve to lose. But Vegan, I think his name was, went out of retirement quickly, because he said they were saying he wanted to retire, and he played 2 short passes which he managed to capitalise on, and Russell managed to finish line. So I just wanted to say that I think he went into retirement a bit too early there, with a terrible pass. But Danny Ings managed to find Russell, and he managed to slot it home pretty easily on the rushing Salvi out the net. But 2 minutes later, Bolly passed it through to Ings. He rushed down the line, passed it through to Junior Malanda. He had his shot, but it got saved by Degan. Ings' shot got saved by Salvi, and I think that's Daniel Krieger. Pass it through to Buckley, does a nice fake shot, gets past every single person there, and managed to hit it into the back of the net. So you can say all our signings are paying off right now, because I'm not disappointed with any signing, since you didn't put a transfer fee in for them. You got them for free, so basically all they can do is live up to expectations. They can't, really be bad, because you didn't lose anything on them. And even if I did, they're all insane, Nathan Baker's insane. He's really good in defence. Robbie Brady's really good. Barkley's the best of the lot, in my opinion. Rio Mayachi's right up there. Joe Hart, I think if I had to choose the worst one, he would be the worst one, Joe Hart. He makes too much mistakes, but, I still love him to bits. And I think that is all my signings, the new signings, the pre-contract signings. But we go into the Manchester United game, and since it's already like 7 minutes in, I've only played 2 games. I cut this game down so much. I just showed you the goals in this game, but the only signing United made in 5 years was Thiago Silva, which they got in the first season, which is absolutely horrendous. When we've basically changed the whole team, upset around 2 players, so it's kind of really weird. But in the 34th minute, this was totally against the run of play, where Kagawa passed it through to Rooney, and he sweated it into the back of the net. Because if you're gonna see in a minute, I had around 6 shots, and this was their first on target. But that's what good teams are good at, being clinical. And we're obviously not a good team if we're not clinical. But you can see here that we totally didn't deserve to be 1-0 down. We dominated the game. We just couldn't score past Lindegaard. But in the 82nd minute, Brady rushed down the line, crossed it into Martin, who managed to head it home. And I was really, really relieved to score that goal, because I was dominating the whole game, and I didn't get nothing out the game until that minute. And I was like, yes, finally, because a draw against United away is really, really good result on FIFA. Obviously, if you did that in real life, you'd be pretty disappointed, because Moyes isn't the manager anymore, he got sacked. Haha. Never mind. But we go and, change the team here and simulate the game against Cardiff, which we won 3-1. Dorian scoring his first goal for us. But also we go into the match against Crystal Palace, which, if you know by the titles, says something along the lines of new record or something. This is where we hit the new record in goals. So you're going to see how much goals we score, and I'm going to show you the new little record table thingy at the end. But we put up our hardest team against Crystal Palace. Like, this is our main 11, and I'm always going to keep it like that. Every game's going to consist of them, unless someone's out of fitness. But Crystal Palace, another team that changed their team quite a bit. I love how they brought Wayne Hennessy in. I think that was quite good. But Barkley passed it through to another signing, Rio Mayachi, who cut inside and curled it into the back post and put us 1-0 up in the 13th minute. So I guess you could say this was a really nice start to the game. And again, like I said, our signings are paying off. Signings are doing both things. Barkley, the signing, passed Rio Miyachi the signing, and he managed to score the goal. So, it's kind of nice. But in the 33rd minute, we have a corner, and Barkley couldn't get there, but Eric Dier could, and he scores his third of the game. Is it the third of the game? Yeah, it is the third of the episode, sorry, and it's not the only of the episode, so there's one more goal to go, so he's going to score 4 goals in the whole entire episode, which is absolutely amazing for a centre-back, scoring 4 goals in 4 games, but, then we pass it through to Barkley, who managed to, do the exact same thing he did against Basel, and score our third of the game, just below the 40-minute mark, and, this is turning into a rout. Our signings pretty much scored every single goal, upset Eric Dier that wasn't signed this season, but 1 minute later, pretty much from kickoff, Luke Shaw chipped it over to Russell, and no one's going to beat Russell for pace. He's got like 92 pace, and that was such a weird goal, because I just smacked it, and Wayne Hennessy couldn't really do anything. It looks so unrealistic, but I mean, you got to score the ugly goals if you want to be champions. You have to win. You need to win. It doesn't matter how you win or how you score, you just need to score, and I'm going to say that's how you score. That was such unrealistic, but that's why I'm going to show you the sliders now, just because, I wanted to show you that 4-0, isn't on world class. I'm not using sliders, I'm literally winning 4-0, and I was as amazed as you guys are now, pretty much. And you can see that we dominated the half. We're normally terrible on possession, but we were just clinching the possession there. But in the 54th minute, Martin's shot got saved, but Brady's follow-up didn't. I thought he was going to miss for a split second there, because he sort of dived. But he managed to, score. So another signing on the score sheet. I think I got the signing spot on. They're all team players, and I loved how Brady, scored that. That's a realistic goal. But so it's 5-0 to Derby County against Crystal Palace. But in the 84th minute, Martin went down the line. He was getting pressurised, but Brady managed to slide it through to Russell. Russell, cut back inside and shot. It got saved, but Rio Miyachi's follow-up didn't. So basically the same scenario as in the Martin goal, but with different players. And again, another signing on the score sheet. I know I'm saying that so many times, but there literally is. I'm so pleased with all the signings. I think the only signings that have not scored yet is Nathan Baker and Joe Hart, which I'm not expecting to score. But in the 88th minute, so 1 minute later, Martin goes running down the line, and his shot gets saved perfectly by Hennessy. He's probably Crystal Palace man of the match, because I could have scored around 20. But Eric Dier's goal, like I said, he's going to score 4 in this episode. Scores the last goal of the game. To end the torture for Crystal Palace, you should say. And you can see how much we dominated this game. We lost a bit of possession, but it doesn't really matter. We had 28 shots, and that's basically how the thing ended. So in the background, you're going to see what I mean by the new record. You're going to see it at the right end. But hopefully you enjoyed this episode, guys. If you did, make sure to give it a like. And yeah, so this is Midget, and I'm going to see you in the next episode, which will be around tomorrow. And so hopefully you enjoyed this episode, guys. If you did, make sure to I forgot what. So it doesn't matter, I guess. This is Midget, and I'm going to see you in the next episode. Peace out.